welcome in. It is day 252, and you're speaking to the Meeples Champion. And today we're going over a game that I haven't played in a little bit. It's another of the games that unfortunately I do not own. I didn't have a friend with a copy, so I don't have one to put up here, but I will get you an image to put up for it. It's a different kind of game. It feels like it's gamerish, and at the same time it feels like it's partyish. At the same time it feels like a drinking game, and yet it kind of can fit into multiple categories, which is rare. You probably, if you know a lot about games, have already guessed what I'm going to put up here. The game is called Red Dragon Inn. Now, the concept of Red Dragon Inn is each of you are going to get your own deck of cards. And you're going to be a character, and that character has all sorts of ways that they can play around in the room. And you're going to be dealing with a situation of you are all adventurers who are now back at the Red Dragon Inn, and you have your money, and you're paying for drinks, and you're having fun, and you're getting in bar fights, and you're trying to be the last one standing, because whoever's the last one standing is going to get all of the loot that you had gathered all day. How are you the last one standing, you ask? Interesting. So the idea is that you have a few different things that you're kind of using here. You could be getting into the bar fights, which could affect your health, but you're also drinking, which can affect how drunk you get. If at any point these two numbers end up colliding, then you basically, between your drunkenness and your health, pass out. If you pass out, all your stuff is taken. So you start up the top here, and they slowly move towards each other. So you have a midpoint. But you could be working really hard and not be taking any drinks and have a very good when it comes to your soberness, which means you're stronger. But if you're getting beat up a bunch and you get beat up all the way up here, you're out. The other side, you could be really good in your defense and be taking no health issue, but drinking, and just get so drunk you just pass out from being drunk. Or you can meet somewhere closer to the middle where you're drunk enough and you're beat up enough that the combo's taking you out. Now, you're going to be literally passing drinks to people. You're going to be getting in fights with people. At the same time, this game has a cool sub-game where you can get pulled into gambling matches. So you could literally be in the middle of one where somebody all of a sudden throws it out there, and all of you now are in the middle of basically a game of poker in a way, and you're playing cards from your hands that normally you're holding out because you need these for the poker reaction cards. And depending on how it all works out, will affect your money, will affect potentially health or drinks that are going to get hit to you. It can be a big hit. This is a fun game. And of all the games I've played through the years, the one thing I'll admit to is I'm not great when it comes to getting into the theme of a game. And I don't mean that I can't enjoy it if it's medieval or if it's sci-fi or anything like that. I definitely can. But I don't get into a game like, say, Dungeons and Dragons, because even though I'm a creative type, I actually write, and I write fantasy books on my side time. I can imagine stuff in my head in that way, but to sit there and to like get into a character mode and to enjoy that kind of thing, it doesn't work for me. It just isn't something I've connected with during gaming. However, during Red Dragon Inn is one of the few times where I get a deck of cards and I can just totally enjoy it and kind of goof off and pretend to be my character. I'm not getting full force into it, but you know, one of the characters is a large orc called, I believe his name is Gog or Grog. I forget which one. It's been a while, but I definitely came up with a voice, and whenever it would be my turn, I would just be Gog Goger and just really commit to it. Everybody would laugh. We'd have a good time. I don't know why it was so easy for somebody like myself who normally can't do that in the game or just doesn't like to do that in the game, but this one for some reason I did. So I don't know if it was the game or just the atmosphere, but I played this game dozens of times. I really enjoyed it, and I think it's one that allowed a little bit more ease for you to get into that mode. That being said, why don't we jump in? Let's bring up our 7 categories and see where this game lands for us today. When it comes to the art, I love the box, and when you pull that game out of the box and you set up your whole thing, everything's really nice. Beautiful card art, really nice design. I think the art grabs you whether it's on the shelf or being set up at a convention. Thumbs up. When it comes to the components, 95% of your components are the cards, and they are definitely invested in. They do a good job with these cards. But on top of the cards, you still have some extra pieces when it comes to your little board in front of you, making sure you're moving that, showing where you are. I think they put in good effort to have nice pieces, good looking pieces, pieces that are going to last. Thumbs up. Your price. This is one of the few games that I'm going to include for price, the expansions, because this game is built on so many. I want to say they have at least 9 or 10 different editions of the game, each with its own characters, as well as each edition might have little add-ons there as well. So it might be up to 15 or 16 different games here. This is one that you really can buy anything you want to play the game. So I consider most of the expansions to be a base style game, because almost all of them come with 4 characters, which is the base came with. And you can play with those 4. So you don't have to own Red Dragon Inn 1 to play Red Dragon Inn. You can own Red Dragon Inn 2 or 3 or 7 or 9. Any of them work. And for me, they're not too expensive. I think they're a reasonable price. I think that it hits well for if you're an experienced or a beginner, it's fine. I think some kids can get into it because it's great art and theme. I think some experience can get into it because it's more of a game for a party atmosphere than what other party games may be that you wouldn't want to touch. So for me, price is acceptable. Thumbs up. Your difficulty. The difficulty, it's not that hard. Yes, there's a lot of luck to it, and it's a lot of having to make sure, more so, who are you playing with and how not to stand out from the bunch. A lot of times you think you're fine, and then all of a sudden 4 players in a row all hit you with drinks, and now you're drunk and out, and you were just winning the game. So it's kind of about knowing how to play a little bit of defense, how to spread out a little bit of offense, not make any enemies, and not get on everybody's radar. Your games like that can be tough. They don't hit for everybody, and I know for myself, part of the reason I don't like a game like, say, Munchkin is because of the fact that I could be the best player and lose the game because everybody just attacks me. So you have to be aware of where that lands for you. I think anybody could play this game, but because of that, I can see the experience and the experts kind of drearing away from this, whereas the beginners and the kids come in. So I'm going to say it's kind of 50-50, but I'll give you the thumbs up on the difficulty. Your replayability. So when it comes to your replayability, the game is about playing it repetitively. When I would play this game, we'd pull it out and play it 2 or 3 times in a row. We'd play it on a weekly basis. We were playing this game at one point, probably if we were meeting up 52 weeks a year, because we would meet up every Saturday, this game was getting played minimum 15 times in that year. Probably, and when I say 15 times, I mean 15 different days. Multiple times when we pull it out. So you might be looking at 30 to 45 total plays. It was plenty of replayability. If you like it, you love it. Thumbs up. Your keys to victory. I mean, we already kind of explained that. What are you looking for? Are you trying to be high defense? Are you trying to protect against getting yourself too drunk? Are you trying to keep out of the gamblings? Are you trying to force the gamblings? Are you trying to be more offensive? Are you trying to pass out more drinks? Are you mixing and matching? Are you trying to instigate other battles? It's a fun game when it comes to that keys to victory because there are plenty. Thumbs up. Unique. So much of this feels like it's a game that should fall in with a party game or a drinking game or all these other styles. But honestly, it's one that I'm missing not being in my collection because when I used to play with my friend who had it, it was a unique game. It may not have been the game that I jumped at all the time, but there is no other game quite like it. And now, all these years later, looking back, there's so many more that have come out since that I keep thinking at some point I'm going to just make the dive and buy one of the giant boxes when they do it and get everything together. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just end up going and buying a couple of the smaller versions and giving myself a little opportunity to see if I still like it. Does my wife like it? Does my friends and family today like it? But in general, I think it's unique. Got a bit of thumbs up. Overall, what do I think? I think it's a fun game. I think it can fit for a lot of different type atmospheres. I could see it being friends, family, party-esque. I don't know if this necessarily fits with a pure board game group, but I don't think it necessarily is a bad fit for them. It just isn't one I would be putting at the forefront or the middle of the pack, but I wouldn't be taking it out of the rotation. So for me, I think this is one that's worth trying. And honestly, don't be afraid to buy one and test it out with the group. And if your friends end up liking the game, it's not like you have to say, well, I'm the one that owns it. They can go and they can buy their edition. And before you know it, you might have each person having their own game. But when you get together, you can bring all your games and be able to pick your characters and mix and match. And that's the fun of the game. So I think it's one that you should try and that you'll enjoy. Well, it is day 252, and we've been speaking about the game, The Red Dragon Inn. And you've been speaking to the Meeples Champion. Like, share, subscribe, and check down below in the description where I'll be adding an Amazon link in case you want to get this game for your collection. Until next time, I'll talk to you tomorrow.